What is up again, everybody? Day 4, well, just past 13 hours into day 4, so I'm a little late. It's nighttime. Kind of wanted to get on here at sunset, but I didn't make it. Local time, 2:05. Yeah, I missed it by quite a while, but we'll have sunrise here shortly. Different conditions than yesterday, but not much has changed in the running order. As far as you can see, everybody's kind of packed up in this one big line here. Some people are choosing to go close to the coast, and others are going way offshore. I'm kind of still in the middle. I haven't lost any ground, gained any ground since yesterday. We do have some huge news as far as the weather and tactics are concerned, so not much has changed as far as yesterday, but as I'm coming towards the shore just a little bit right now, and I will show you why that is in a minute. If you watched yesterday's day 3 update, you would have seen that I went over the weather and saw that there was a big hole of wind that we were sailing into over here, and that it would be not much to sacrifice. It would be better to go through that hole than it would be to go out west to try and avoid it, because that hole of wind was shifting out towards the west, and no matter where we went would have caught us anyway. So I decided to stay east of it. And we're going through it right now. As you can see, we put the spinnaker away. We got our code 0, the largest of our foresails, out right now. So even with only 6 knots of true wind speed, we're going faster than the actual wind speed. We're doing 8.5, 9, even 10 at some points. So we got the largest of our foresails out here, and just kind of cruising along towards Cape Verde still, and yeah, some interesting news as far as the weather is concerned. Beautiful night out here with the moon and everything. Had a full moon a few nights ago, so it's not exactly full now. But it's a huge relief. You know, we had huge seas and 20 knots to 30 knots of wind for the first 4 days of racing, and now as we get closer to the doldrums and the equator, it's starting to calm down a lot more, and it's kind of a relief for right now, you know, as long as we're still got some good boat speed. But anyway, let's go look at the weather. Not there. You can see I'm right about here, so I'm kind of doing the same exact thing as the real Volvo Ocean Race guys, except they went really far west, and they were fast enough to get away from this hole. And this entire no wind region right here, this hole is going to be shifting out this way within the next few hours. But those guys got the pace where they just pretty much outran this thing and came south. So this is going to start filling in. This hole is going to start filling in off this coast of Africa here, and I don't think they'll have a problem, the real guys. But so I adjusted here according to Windy. Yesterday we were up here in the 20 knots of wind still, 25 knots of wind. And checking our way, we had just passed the western shores of the Canaries and head out this way a little bit, and now we jibed more south. So we're pretty much right where, I'd probably say we're right around here. And but you can see I didn't want to continue I was originally on a southwest track, and that puts me in this area of bad wind longer than I want to be. So I kind of turned out towards the east and came over here a little bit more, and you'll see why I did that shortly. If we fast forward, you'll see the differences. Let me fast forward a few hours into Friday. You can see there's a lot more wind here on the shore, and those people that got stuck back in the Canaries that lost a ton of ground, they're getting some wind now, so they'll be able to propel them back into us. I'm not sure if they'll catch us. I don't think they'll catch us, but you know, a lot of these guys over here, Storm Petrel might be okay, but a lot of guys, Bionic, unfortunately, Chris Sailability is way back now. He was leading us down. He was one of the first guys down here. He's losing a ton of ground. So these guys that went in towards the shore, they're not really paying off yet, but maybe they'll get some wind. You know, if they catch this, maybe they'll be able to propel themselves back into us. I'm not really sure how that will play out yet. But the reason why I'm going on this route right here is because even if I'm still in the light wind come, what is this, Friday, 9 o'clock, so 12 hours from now, if we fast forward a little bit more into Friday, that starts filling in, and this hole starts shifting out towards the west, where all these guys are. And so these guys are going to run into that hole eventually as well. if my map populates. There's a lot more boats out here, but and then it gets better going into Saturday, so let's go maybe right after midnight. And I expect to be over here by then, or at least just west of the Cape Verde Islands here. Because from point 1 to point 2 is about 24 hours out, and then it shouldn't take too long to make this turn to the west and then come down. So you can kind of see I'm predicting my, the weather and what it's going to be like and where my boat's going to be, and I'm trying to foul all this green. I'm trying to stay away from all these patches of blue. You can kind of see it trailing off the islands. And so we're going to come down here. I don't want to go behind these islands. I don't want to go over here near Dakar where the doldrums pretty much start, because this is going to be no wind over here. This is a no-go zone. Yeah, so I want to come down here. I'm going to make a turn, and then hopefully this is on Saturday. And you can see it just fills in even better on Saturday. And now the doldrums, if I fast forward to... This is what the doldrums usually look like. There's no wind here. This is right on the equator. I mean, it goes all the way over to Brazil. And yeah, you could sit in here drifting for days, even weeks, trying to get yourself through here. But luckily, if we look at Saturday, where I expect to be down in this area, we have this band of wind that has filled in, and so that's why you see me diving deep south to try and get through it before it closes up. So Saturday, even into Sunday, that same band of wind is still there. Going into Monday, it starts dissipating, and we start getting the typical doldrums back. But I'm hoping by Monday, Tuesday that we've pushed far enough through there that we've caught the trade winds down here, and I mean, I'm predicting that we should be that far by Tuesday, but we'll see what happens. And it gets even worse. I mean, Wednesday, Thursday, the doldrums are like full tilt now. I mean, there's no air in here whatsoever. So I'm hoping that we're down here by then. We should be. I mean, that's about a week out. Into this new wind down here south of the equator, into the trade winds, and this is going to be the long haul here. A lot of different tactics I think are going to come out. You might see a big, large split in the fleet, where right now we're kind of all just bunched up in one big line. But this is because all the wind is pretty much coming off of our destination in Cape Town, so we're going to be beating our way. Sorry, my allergies are pretty bad today. But we're going to be beating our way all the way down to Cape Town. And that's probably going to take at least a week, I would imagine. But yeah, that's the plan. We'll see if anything changes, but like I said, I'm in this light air area right now, and I'm trying to come out this way to catch this Friday shift. As you can see, this wind off the coast starts coming towards me a little bit more. So I want to run into that, and then probably put the spinnaker back up, as it looks like downwind conditions instead of a reach, which it's a reach right now. This wind's coming off the shore. But yeah, we'll catch those winds. Drive out to the west for about half a day, and then try to break our way. I mean, this is as lucky as you can be, because usually the doldrums is like the testing grounds for this type of race, and going around the world or crossing the equator as many times as the Volvo Ocean Race does, you end up with no wind for quite a while going through here. But we got lucky this time, and it looks like all weekend long, from here to about here, there's wind. And if we can punch our way through there, we're going to be, pretty lucky. It's better than drifting in there for, almost a week. But yeah, 4.5 days in, I can't wait to get to Cape Town. It's been, it's close racing, that's for sure. And especially with these guys in the real race too. I mean, these guys are only, what are they, 5 miles off the leaders. 6 miles, 6 miles. These guys are only about 20 miles back. They're 50 miles back, so I don't know if they'll catch up. But as far as the front runners, I mean, they're all packed into each other, and it looks like they're running into some lighter winds here, that same hole that I was in. Is it? No, they're farther south of me. Oh, it's the edge of that hole that I'm in, because I'm like right over here. And like I said, we're trying to catch this wind come down north of Cape Verde. Cut over this way to try and pretty much get where they're at, because they're seeing the same thing. They're seeing the doldrums fill in right about here, and I guarantee you they want to try and just punch their way through this before it becomes as bad as this. I mean, 1 knot, 0.5 knots. I mean, you'd be in here for a week. That's torture. But as it stands, that's the plan for now. I spent several hours looking at weather models, and in particular windy, and trying to figure out what was going to happen. But there's not really any major split in the fleet right now. I mean, like I said, a lot of guys went over towards the coastline. Not really paying off for them. Who knows how it's going to work for these guys way out here to the west. I'm just staying in the middle and just trying to keep the boat speed up and keep up with everybody until, you know, I think the tactics that I have right now, the strategy that I have, are pretty typical. If I see anything crazy that I don't think anybody else is going to see, then I probably won't let you know about it. I probably won't tell you on the video. But I don't think anything like that's going to happen until we get past the doldrums and start heading towards Cape Town. I think this is where all the tactics are going to play out, and I mean, it's going to be an upwind sprint race to get to the finish line. I think, especially if all the racers, I don't know, 70 of us or whatever, how many boats are there? 76 boats still, that's amazing. So if all 76 of us are still this clustered when we get through the doldrums, it's going to be anybody's game at this point. Anybody can win this race. No one's been really making some crazy mistakes. I mean, there's a few people that I guess shouldn't have gone near these islands, and they did, but other than that, the rest of us have been bunched up like this since we left Lisbon. So very, very close racing. I haven't seen anybody in a few hours. I crossed a boat a few hours ago. He cut across my bow, but I haven't seen anybody else in a couple days. Of course, with the way the graphics are in this game, it's very kind of hazy. You can't really see anybody unless they're right on top of you, unfortunately. Yeah, nice little break, from the big seas we had and all the reefing. Now they have full main and the largest foresail we have, the Code 0. It's kind of nice to have everything up. That's what we've been on port tack forever, and kind of looking forward to actually maybe when we get down here and jibe over. Yep, everything is trimmed perfectly. I don't think we can do anything. What's my backstay at? 43%, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I was on 24 hours ago when I made the day 3 update, and I mean, if I go back and watch that, this pack probably looks exactly the same as it does now. I think the only thing that's changed is Peter's come across. He was over here yesterday. He's come across us today. Don't really know where these guys are, but I made up a lot of ground on a lot of people. Mast Hysteria and Sol are still in the same spots pretty much as 24 hours ago. They're just off over here to my west. X-rays back here. These guys have been trying to duke it out with each other, but of course there's a lot of new names in here. There's some guys that are in here that were from Leg 1, but I don't recognize most of these names. Oh, Pepper's Ghost is way back. Okay. Dingo, I recognize him. Radio Gaga, he was at the start line with us, I think. But yeah, I mean, it might look like we're far away from each other, but you know, you make one mistake, or you run into a patch of low wind for, you know, 6 hours or more, and these guys will pass you. It's, you really have to pay attention to where you're going and what you're doing. And I'm still learning too. I haven't done long distance offshore races in real life, and I haven't done them in a computer game obviously until now, so I'm kind of learning as we go as far as tactics and everything. I only do club racing pretty much, one design racing. I've done one design racing on J24s, but nothing of this scale. I want to. Yeah, offshore racing would be amazing, but it's like, you like racing, so why not do it for 20 days at a time? I think we're about here. Oops, I didn't want to do that. What the hell? Yeah, so we're about over here, I think. So I might have to, if this wind angle keeps up, I might have to drop the code 0, put the spinnaker up, and head straight downwind here to go where I want to go. This is where I want to go. I don't think, by the time we get over Cape Verde in a day from now, I don't think it's going to pay to go around this side of the island, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. It's too risky because this starts... Yeah, this starts coming out towards Cape Verde. I mean, we should be here and around by Saturday morning. So we could do something like this. If anything changes, if I feel like it would pay off to go around that way instead of out this way. But then you gotta worry about the wind shadowing behind the islands. You don't want to get too close to that either. So, I don't know. So far I'm going to stick with this tactic, but we could change that if I see any advantage to it. Yep. And it's interesting, the real Volvo guys, they only get, you know, these updates every 6 hours, so they pretty much have to plan for 6 hours at a time. And I'm planning for 12 hours at a time because I have work and stuff. I have a life. So I have to plan for 12 hours at a time, and it's a little tougher. These things change at a moment's notice. They don't, you know, give you any warning. I could think that I have a good setup as far as tactics are concerned, and as, you know, I'll log off and go do something with family or whatever, and the wind will completely do a 180 on us. So, with that being said, I mean, I don't have any crew members that sail the boat when I'm gone, and a lot of other people do. I'm sailing all by myself, so I really do have to study the weather a little bit better and try to make the best decisions for a 12-hour period of time. And so far, I can't complain. We're doing pretty good, based off the fact that we're in the front of this leading charging group right here. You know, we're kind of right in the middle, towards the front. I don't think you're really going to find out who's in the lead until we all get offshore a little bit more, through the doldrums, make this turn and start heading down and towards Cape Town. And then you'll be able to maybe see a little bit more of a split and see who's leading. But right now you can't really tell. I haven't messed around with this stuff really. What's this do? Tactical view. Oh boy. Well, that's cheating. I mean, it's like if you had a heads-up display on your eyeglasses or something. Yeah, this is just the star constellations. It's kind of weird that we have that, but oh well. Something to look at, I guess. Doing close to 10 knots right now, and this feels good. 2 knots faster than the true wind speed. We're sailing by apparent wind speed right now, pretty much, which is what you do with these boats with the code 0. Pretty basic, you know. Get up on the rail here. The water looks good at night. I can't complain. The water looks great at night. Spent too much time on that island of yours, Bionic. Hitting gun chips. Wow, I hit the spacebar too early. I don't know if he understands what I'm saying. I'm trying to joke around with him. I mean, You were over in these islands with no wind for a couple days. You were too busy hitting on women. Just parked the boat on a sand dune somewhere. Went off drinking rum, hitting on all the ladies. Are you in the Volvo Ocean Race? Yes. Don't know who you're talking to, there's 3 of us. Oops, what the hell? Hitting buttons. Where is he on here? Why would you say that? Well, not much action going on right now. Just kind of catching up with everybody who's online right now. But yeah, kind of a different sea state, a little bit lighter winds than we've had. Kind of a chance to just regroup. Oh, are we getting in close here to these guys, or looks like I'm catching these guys up? Who are the 10? I am catching them up. What speeds do they got though? We got Tangent and Cow. I'm curious of what kind of speeds they have. Where's the other guy? No, I'm going faster than them, so yeah, I am catching them up. Well, I'm still happy with the boat paint job. I don't think I want to change anything on that. It's American Eagle. Kind of looks good. Unless I come up with anything different in the future, but yeah, unfortunately not really entertaining video. Day 4 we're not really doing anything. Just thought I'd update you guys on what was going to happen, what is going to happen as far as the wind over the next hours and coming days, and that's when it's going to get exciting. Is probably day 5, day 6 is when we're gonna have a lot of shakeups, I think, going into day 7. So I think once we all make this turn around the, I guess you can call it hump of Africa here, that's when things are going to start mixing up a little bit. How is this guy on the land? What the hell? Wow, he was way over here. Okay. I was wondering where some of these guys got away to. Interesting. Well, I don't see anything is going to change for quite a while, so I think I'll end this stream here. Our little day 4 update. Yeah, just not too much going on. It's still a drag race, pretty much one big line of people right here. But it's a long race, and the exciting bits, the exciting part of this race is yet to come. You know, it's going to be pretty brutal going through this area and trying to stay in the lead of the race, or take the lead of the race, from my case. But I'd really enjoy winning a leg sometime, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to be pretty busy the next few days. I have a lot going on, and so if I don't make a day 5, day 6, maybe even day 7 update video, don't worry, I'll be on and at some point and catch everybody up on what happened over the weekend. Like I said, our plan for the weekend is to just try and stay in the wind and get past Cape Verde, and then try to dive through this area of pressure that has formed in the middle of the doldrums before it dissipates on us. And I don't want to get stuck in here drifting for days on end. I want to punch through it and get into the trade winds down here and start making our way, figuring out tactics and how, you know, the quickest way to get to Cape Town is for the next few weeks, because yeah, this is quite the distance to cover, and the winds are going to change on a daily, you know, basis pretty much. So I can't wait to get down here and just see what we can do, see where we're at in the pack when we get down there, you know, see what everybody else does, and try not to lose any ground, try not to make any mistakes, try to stick it with everybody. The more I, you know, stick in this front edge of the where everybody's at right now, the better chance I have of breaking away and taking the lead of this thing at some point. But you know, one mistake and I could be back here somewhere, and that's pretty much race over for us, I would imagine, if something like, you know, something drastic happened. Like leg 1, for example. Leg 1, we got screwed over by a bunch of bugs, and I feel like every time I logged off, something went wrong with the boat. And so far on leg 2, you know, I map out with these yellow lines here where I want the boat to go when I'm off, when I'm not online, so the computer will sail the boat for me. And I haven't lost any ground. I haven't really gained any ground either. You know, the computer's keeping me right in this pack right here, so I can't complain about that. It's a lot better than leg 1 was. Listen, we had waypoints on leg 1, which didn't really make any freaking sense to begin with, too, because the Volvo Ocean Race does not have buoys that you go around. It's just whoever gets from point A to point B the fastest. So leg 1 was a disaster when it came to that detail, and then leg 2, if you go back to Lisbon, it just started. We didn't have an import race section before the start of the race, which the Volvo Ocean Race, you know, you start, you go around a few buoys, back and forth so that people can wave goodbye, and then you head out to sea and down towards whatever your destination is. But we didn't do that, and I was kind of disappointed by that. So far, even though we're simulating the Volvo Ocean Race, honestly it doesn't feel like it, because leg 1 was screwed up and leg 2 didn't have a good start. So, but as far as the offshore sailing and the racing is concerned, it's pretty good. You know, hopefully we get it right for the rest of the legs, leg 3, leg 4. You know, maybe I know they're working on actually getting the Volvo Ocean right. Well, we're getting this. Let me look it up here. But they do not think that we are going to get it by the time of this Volvo Ocean Race, which is a little disappointing, I guess, because we kind of need it right now. But you know, the VR65, this is the boat we're going to get for the game. The developers are making it. They don't think it's going to be ready for us to use in the Volvo Ocean Race, so like I said, it was kind of disappointing. I don't know why. We should have it now, you know, that's the thing. Instead of this boat. But we'll see what happens. Still an early access game under development. A lot to do. It's pretty good so far. But yeah, like I said, it would be nice to have the VOR 65 and a couple other boats that I can think of, and it would be nice to actually simulate the Volvo Ocean Race the correct way, because it's not being done right. But at least we have somebody doing something, I guess. But it would be nice to just have the import race section and then, you know, point A to point B. Which I thought they were going to do, but I don't know, whatever. You know, they say that you can see dolphins and whales in this game, and I have yet to see anything. And I've been sailing on this for quite a while now. I have never seen anything, ever. I see seagulls when I go towards land, that's about it. Which is pretty nice, but I've never seen a whale, I've never seen dolphin. You know, they did recently announce that this game is going to be, or simulator, it's not really a game. I keep saying game, but I really mean simulator. There is a difference. You know, I still play, as you can see if I move this aside. Where is it? Well, you can see all the flight simulator software I have. All these add-ons. So I put a ton of money into my flight simulator, my race car simulators. I got quite the setup here, but as far as this being a simulator, yeah, this has huge potential. It definitely does. But I've also heard that there's only really one developer, so they did announce that this is going to be in early access a lot longer than they anticipated, but I think the guy could use some help, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want the help, but I think he could use it to reach the potential that this has, you know. I mean, he's already created the entire world. You can sail anywhere you want in the entire world. If I zoom way out here on this map, and you can see it even highlights day and night. So this is all sunlight right now. Obviously this is all real time, so if I went over here off the Californian coast, you'd have sunset. It's real weather, so you get the actual pretty close. I think it's got a few hours of delay, but it's pretty close to the real life weather. But there are some issues with the land. If I wanted to sail where I sail in real life, I do a lot of sailing on Lake Ontario and out of Newport, Rhode Island, which it needs some work. Newport's got some issues as far as the land detail, and the Great Lakes are terrible. So like out of the Rochester area, Rochester Yacht Club area, these are cliffs for some reason, like 200, 300 freaking high cliffs. We don't have that here. You know, there's a few cliffs down by Sodus, I know that, and they're more like bluffs, and other than that, this is pretty flat land leading into the Great Lakes. So I think the land models that he's used just went off of elevation compared to sea level, and So I think it put Lake Ontario and the rest of the Great Lakes at sea level, you know, where the ocean is, but they don't calculate that this is all downhill. I mean, the Great Lakes is like a giant staircase, you know. This is so many feet above sea level, then it drops down into this lake, that drops down into this lake, drops down over here. And, you know, through Niagara Falls, that's, you know, that's a huge drop of elevation, and then into Lake Ontario, which is still 240 some odd feet above sea level. And that's, I think that's what happened, because the cliffs that are surrounding this entire lake that look really unrealistic, they're about, yeah, they look like they're about 240 feet high. So graphically, what he messed up on the developer, it looks like that the Great Lakes, and probably all the way around the world, any other lakes, they're at sea level instead of actually being at their mapped out elevation. So that's an issue. You kind of need to fill up the bathtub, I guess, to fix that problem. But as far as the ocean, if you just stick to ocean racing in this game, you're not going to have a problem. It looks pretty good. And there's a few bugs that they work on. If you bring it up to them, they work on it, so it's pretty cool. I went to Honolulu to kind of check it out the other day, and there was like sunken ships all over the place, which I didn't really understand. You know, instead of being on the bottom of the seabed, they were on the surface. So sailing into Honolulu, it looked like Armageddon just happened. And I was like, what the hell? So, but apparently they fixed it. I haven't been back, but they announced that they fixed it in an update, so we'll have to go see what, if they did fix it. But yeah, like I said, this simulator has huge potential, and it's just it's not there yet, but it's going to have growing pains. This is kind of the infant version of what this is actually hopefully going to be, you know, become. You know, I'm hoping that we get bigger boats, better boats, you know, J-class, J24s, J80s, whatever you want. The Vendée Globe foiling monohulls. Multi-hulls, maybe the America's Cup boats. 12 meters would be nice. The VR65, obviously they're already working on. Anything like that, and some bigger cruising boats for the people that like cruising in this game. I think racing is probably going to be the bigger thing in the future besides cruising. I think there's going to be a lot more racers than you're going to have cruisers. You know, as far as people that want to get on, I think they're going to get on to be competitive. I don't think they want to get on just to explore, because there's not really a good enough detail in the land and everything to want to explore right now. So you're going to have a bigger racing community in this game, because we haven't had anything in a long time. You know, I had Sail Simulator 5. Not much of a community there anymore. That game's kind of it's pretty much dead, and the physics were really bad in that game. As far as boat speeds, they were kind of impossible, but there was some good racing there for a while. And then Virtual Skipper, you know, that community's almost gone. There's a good online community, but so there's really nothing as far as sailboat racing anymore. And when this came around, you know, that's why I have such faith and well, more hope than anything for this, because everything else is dead. All the other communities are gone, and there's not much else out there for sailboat racing on your PC or whatever. Until now. This has got to be the new thing. The replacement. You know, I feel that we're catching these guys up, like, big time. Like, right off my bow now. I mean, they're still miles ahead of me. If I zoom in, you can kind of tell that they are, well, about 10 miles in front of me. I would say, give or take, maybe 15, 25. But when we're zoomed out, it looks like we're catching them up pretty fast. But you know, get the rest of the fleet to load here. Come on. Sometimes you're going to do that with your map. It's a little bit of a glitch. Takes a while to load everybody up. Is this Bionic? He might slingshot back into this pack over here. He's got wind now over there. We'll see what happens. I'm still doing 9 knots, so I'm pretty happy about that. As long as we can keep it up. Get out of this hole, get down here towards Cape Verde, and stay away from the coast over by Dakar. There's not going to be any wind over here. That's why I'm really reluctant to try and sneak around the islands this way. I'd rather go over towards the west and get it done with, but that's where the doldrums pretty much form, is right off of here. And yeah, hopefully we can punch through in the next coming days. I'll probably, as busy as I'm going to be this weekend, I think I really need, you know, I'm working all weekend, and then I got a party on Saturday to go to, but for my yacht club. But this is my yacht club's Commodore's Ball. I like seeing everybody and talking to everybody. It's kind of the last thing we do for the year before winter. Unfortunately, I think we should do something in January or something, but who knows. Even a Christmas party, people don't really see each other for Christmas. Kind of losing my mind right now because we're doing the same thing here. But I think it's estimated that this race was going to take 22 to 27 days or something like that. And if we get lucky enough to, let me look at that. If we get lucky enough to break through the doldrums when there's actually wind there, instead of, you know, if we were to go through here where there's no wind, I think we'll finish early, a lot earlier than anticipated, because there's definitely wind in there now. And I don't imagine that will be over here. Yeah, this fills in really nicely next week. Very strong winds off the coast of South Africa here, off the tip where we're going, Cape Town. I don't imagine we'll be down there next week, but we'll be somewhere in here. I feel like we should be somewhere in here. Especially by next Saturday, it looks like it's still filled in pretty good. But I imagine you don't want to go near the coastline, and you don't want to go too far south. So yeah, tactics are going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens. So it's about midnight right now. No, it's about 11 o'clock. Where am I? So this is the wind we are contending with now. Where am I? I think I haven't moved much from this original spot. So it's filling in a little bit for me already, which is good. Going into Friday, this green comes out towards me a little bit more. It's going to be very slow. And by tomorrow night, we're back in it. Probably Spinnaker downwind, and then hopefully around Cape Verde. And start punching through the doldrums after that. Because right after Cape Verde is the doldrums. Well, it was a nice start to the race to have hellacious conditions of, 20 to 30 knots of wind. We had 30 knots right at the start. And but this is a nice break, nice flattening seas, I should say. There's still some waves out here, but I'm not slamming around and getting covered in waves coming over the bow like crazy like we were yesterday and the day before that, So it's kind of a welcome relief for right now. We'll see what happens when we get closer to the Southern Ocean, especially the next leg. Cape Town all the way over to Melbourne, and that's going to be a very long downwind Southern Ocean leg. It's going to be really cold and windy. Big seas, big chop, and especially I think once we get near the 40 longitude, latitude, what the fuck it's called, I forgot. The roaring 40s, you know what I mean. Where the weather gets pretty nasty this time of year. The last Volvo Ocean race, if I zoom out on my map again, it was a little more interesting because they left Cape Town because Abu Dhabi was a team in the last edition. They have to visit that team's home city. That's kind of why teams join. But you know, instead of going straight Southern Ocean sailing all the way over to Melbourne like we're doing this race, they only had a little bit of Southern Ocean sailing, and they headed up here and into Abu Dhabi over here, Dubai and everything, and so it was a little bit different, but there's no wind there. I mean, fucking Middle East, there's nothing there as far as wind, and I remember the import race, the boats were just sitting there drifting around doing nothing. So in a way I'm excited that we're not going up here to Abu Dhabi, but also I guess 40% of me is kind of disappointed that we're not going up there, because it is an interesting track to get up here and then through this little river section here and then around this corner and into Abu Dhabi, so that would have been fun. And then I believe they dove south again. They went to China, I know that, and then I think it was China to Auckland or something. They didn't go to Australia last time, but it's a little different this time around. I mean, we're going to Cape Town all the way over to Melbourne. The leg I'm not looking forward to is Melbourne to Hong Kong, because there's so many freaking islands and so many different conditions through here that it's impossible to map out. And like I said, I gotta plan 12 hours ahead of time, so it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna come out of Melbourne, past Sydney and Brisbane, all these freaking islands that you could run into. I mean, we're really gonna have to zoom in on our map and really plan out these legs because of all these little islands that we have to go around. And that just means more room for air, more room for wind shifts and disrupting winds. Trying to get up here, up to Hong Kong, and then from Hong Kong we're going to, where the hell are we going? See if I can find where we're going to begin with. It's over here, because, yeah. I assume I'm not in the right area. I don't like Asia, as you can tell. Bangkok, Singapore, Ho Chi Minh City. So where the fuck is Hong Kong? Alright, let me zoom out. I think I'm in the totally wrong area. Yes, quick down. Shanghai, Tokyo's over here. Beijing, so it's Korea, China. Where the hell is Hong Kong? Down here to the south. Well, anyway, we're going to Hong Kong, and then we're going up some river to a part of China, because it's a Chinese team. And then going down back the way we came pretty much to go to Auckland. I don't know why I can't find it right now. I thought it was over here. But yeah, difficult navigation though, I mean, with all these islands and everything. So we're going to come up from Melbourne and go up here. Hong Kong, China, back down over to Auckland, New Zealand, and then have another long Southern Ocean leg. This is probably the longest one. From Auckland all the way around Cape Horn. Make the turn to the north up to Itaja, which is by Sao Paulo, so in this area. And then a very long northerly leg where we go from there up to... very long leg actually, up to Newport, and that's where I'm going to see them in person, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this race. Unless I bring my computer from Newport over to Cardiff. Right around this area. And I forgot where we're going. We're going to Gothenburg. And then we're finishing in the Hog, I know that, but I forget where else we go. Oh well. It's a long way away. This race doesn't finish until June, I believe, next year, so. But yeah, that's it for this update video. Just thought I'd go over some information, go over the weather, hang out for a little bit with you guys, spend some quality time with my people. My people. Alright. Yeah, we'll try to make something this weekend when we get to the doldrums, and maybe there'll be a huge mix-up in the crowd here. Other than that, I'm going to be busy all weekend, so I probably won't be on that often. Other than that, stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.